So the issue that was stated was that I loaded the percussion caps onto the cylinder prior to smashing the balls in. Good afternoon! So the comments on my safety have been fun. I especially love this one. And to be fair, I did actually do an experiment with a loaded cylinder to test the theory of falling and exploding. It didn't. We did it 20 times. I did wear eyes and ears, and I hid behind logs, and there were no projectiles in the cylinder, so think on that safety as you will, because I'm comfortable with it. But the second one I've had a few comments on is the loading of the 1858 Remington. So first I want to state that I am always open to learn. And if you're not always a student, or in my martial arts world I call it white belt forever, then you should never lead. And in my case, I'm providing an example to my children about life in general, and that's important to me. Prayer, working hard, continual learning, and making sure that you understand why you believe what you believe. So I want the first and foremost aspect of this to be that I have no problem admitting if I was loading this bad boy wrong, but also at the same time restating what I have stated time and time and time again. These are not teaching videos. Please keep in mind that these are all completely for entertainment purposes only. This is not an instructional. I really should have my dad here, so don't take my word for any of this. So this is my dad. Seriously, let me state again, this really isn't a tactical black powder pistol program. It's made up. These are not teaching videos. It's history, and it's me screwing around with a large metal firework. There are plenty of other channels that can teach the other aspect, and several people have very respectfully and kindly reached out in the comments to lead me to those, and I have loved going through them and learning. So, quick explanation, sort of. I didn't start my firearm journey as most did standing isosceles at a paper target. Up until a few years ago, my world of guns consisted of like frog gigging with a BB gun with my kid brother. Really, I was just a tag along because I liked walking the trails, and I wasn't exactly quiet. Run, frog, run! And then the other aspect would be the very occasional rifle my dad would load, and I would shoot it, and then I would just pass it back to him without a care of ever hitting the target in the first place. It wasn't until I wanted to expand myself in self-defense, after being in the martial arts world for some time, that I started a mild interest in firearms. So before I got any concealed carry or took any firearm class in any capacity, I bought a Taurus 380, and I signed up for a ShivWorks ECQC course with Craig Douglas. Yeah. Not the best gun for that course. I have expanded a bit since then. Looking back though, I am glad I really didn't know what the course was at the time. But basically, to give you an explanation, it is a 27-hour course of understanding fighting in close quarters with your firearm. You know, like reality. And basically understanding the weight of what it means when you're actually carrying a firearm. So yeah, I started my firearms journey rolling around in the dust with a male stranger in a field somewhere getting shot by a sim gun with sim rounds. It was such a good time. What an introduction. But that one class taught me more about self-defense than anything I had learned in the previous 3 years of martial arts. Consequently, the first 4 hours of managing unknown contacts changed the way I thought and taught about self-defense. I went on to take 400 hours worth of courses in knives and firearms over the next 3 years. It was there that I learned about trigger discipline and the 4 firearm rules. One in particular that seems to be something that came up, not point the muzzle at anything I didn't want dead. So to knock that out of the way, at all times that I was loading this, there are 2 places where the muzzle was aimed. And the only casualties that could have been in this aspect were the random shelves of my childhood storage and a cabinet of paint. So I'm gonna show you. It's all over here. That's all my childhood storage. I gotta get this all rigged back again. Okay. Anyway, have I made mistakes with firearms? Oh, absolutely. I'm pretty sure everyone has. I don't even mind stating the 2 instances because I've learned heavily. I flagged Raul Martinez at a close contact gunfighter course he taught after a particularly stressful daisy train drill. I hate those. He caught it and he skillfully redirected it, yelled at me, rightfully so, and that took care that I never made that mistake again. And 2, I was working with a firearms instructor teaching a self-defense portion of course, and they were teaching the range portion. I was just assisting in a very basic manner on the line when the wind blew a target down. In immediate response, I took 1 step off the line towards it, not quite yet in front of firing range, but enough to realize my intent before I stopped and realized what I had stupidly done. Again, a lesson I learned extremely well. What does all this have to do with the 1858 Remington? Well, one, that again, none of these are meant to be firearms teaching videos. That's not my wheelhouse. I don't even want to teach firearms. There are many, many people in the world that are 1,000 times better at it, and I will happily give names. I like to teach self-defense, but that's about it. But I do like to tinker, for lack of a better word. And I like to challenge things with respect, hence the cylinder experiment. I love social history and the whys behind things, and sometimes things in the soil need to be tilled up and re-examined. It's like the story of the ham always being cut off in the generations passed down recipe. Finally, the great-grandma asked the great-granddaughter why she's cutting off the end of the ham, and she said, well, it's the way my mom always did it. And then she asked the mother, and she said the same thing. And come to find out, great-grandma had written down on her recipe card to cut the end off the ham because her stove wasn't big enough to accommodate the whole ham. It was only necessary for that generation, but they had been doing it for several more and never questioning why. So that was a really long explanation for what we're gonna do today. Just exactly how dangerous is it how I loaded the cylinder? The muzzle will only be pointed in the general direction of the paint cabinet. So the issue that was stated was that I loaded the percussion caps onto the cylinder prior to smashing the balls in. That's a fair argument. It is not on half cock. Me rotating the cylinder and loading it with the ball could be a safety hazard. Probably is. I also did it where I loaded the cylinder completely, percussion caps and all, prior to it being on the gun to show how extra cylinders could have been carried, much like modern day mag changes. So I did it both ways. The thing is, the hammer only pulls so far before it hits half cocked, right? So how much pressure has to hit with the hammer on the percussion cap to cause the black powder explosion that would launch the ball into the abyss of the shop? The ball that's not going to be in the gun while we do this experiment. So that's what we're going to do today. I will not be loading the cylinder with a ball or even black powder because really none of that's necessary. We're just wanting to see if the percussion cap goes off. We're just going to be testing the likelihood of the hammer prior to hitting half cocked having enough force to cause the percussion cap to go off. And I will be doing this right here because really it's just like us hitting little snappers on here. Pop gun, pop gun. So I'm gonna be doing this 12 times, I think. I don't really know. But I actually don't even think it will rotate without it going off, so we may have to improvise while testing. Either way, we will do this 12 times because it's 2 cylinders and there's 6 things in each cylinder, and I don't know, 2 seems like a fun number. No, not really scientific, but thus is the nature of FAFO. So, if it goes off, I have no issues admitting my error in the Remington video. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and say now that the comments are probably right, but the whole thing does have me curious. At the risk of being a bit more open-minded than maybe I should be here, I'm thinking the gun design is much more intricate and thought through than what we think. That perhaps it was studied and tested when designed, and even though half-cocked is the safety feature, they might have gone farther in finding the exact point it needs for popping this bad boy off. I don't know. Either way, I will post all the results, and I will also admit, even if it goes off once, because you're right, once is definitely enough. So the issue that they had was that I put the caps on the cylinder prior, okay, and then I loaded the balls on the gun, and it wasn't half cocked. So to the disclaimers again. This is not a teaching video. I'm not instructing you in any way. I will refer you in the caption to those who have been kind and reached out and do that exact thing for a living in the caption of this video. Hell, this isn't even really scientific. I don't have the blueprints for this gun, if that is even a thing, and even if I did, I wouldn't know how to read them. Although, funny story though, there is what looks like blueprints right here. I find this really interesting because look at this. I put these guns on this little let's just take you off here. Okay. So I put these guns, I don't even know why, because, you know, we've totally banged up this one cylinder that's right here, right? But I'm using this AR-15 blueprint pad. I still don't know what they are. And it won't be peer-reviewed. That's a big phrase nowadays, except in the review of probably public opinion of the trolls in my comments. So, let's put the percussion caps on, and we're going to pull it back, not quite to half cock, and we're gonna see if we can get any of the percussion caps to go off at any point in time. So we're gonna load both of these cylinders. One is the one that I banged up really bad in the Great Cylinder Experiment. And then we're gonna do this one and try not to mess it up, because I don't wanna do that to my dad. Okay, so we're gonna use number 10. So they fit on here, and look, it's completely empty. Nothing's in there. Wait, I don't know where to go. Because all we need is for the percussion caps to go off. That's it. We're just testing pressure of the hammer before it hits half cocked. The other thing that I'm also thinking that is going to happen is that there's these, like the cylinder experiment, okay? These things are, if you look at this creates a space for the hammer to kind of, I don't really know. But I don't think that it's gonna quite allow it to hit the percussion cap before it hits half cocked. So I don't really know, we're gonna see. I can't get this cylinder in. What am I doing wrong? I'm actually frustrated. Need some alcohol.
Here's what it's doing. And then a lot of times you do it too far, you end up with that. So what you're doing is, when you bring it in, see this thing right here?
Yeah, that's what...
You have to be on half cock. So what you do is you rotate it in like that. And then, okay?
Okay.
And then you can take it out that way too. You got the hammer down, because you don't want the hammer down.
I can't do it like... Okay.
Look, put it on half cock, rods out, and then you just take it, slide it up.
That's not how you just did it.
It is.
You did it from the front side.
I did it from this side, but I did. I don't think it will.
Oh my God, because that's what my question was.
Well, I can, but I've got to turn it the opposite way. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to push that part that actually makes it go.
Yeah.
It's easier, like I said.
So you had it half cocked before you stuck the cylinder in?
I always had it in half
Okay,
cock.
all right.
Yeah.
All right.
And the other side would be easier.
Okay. I have to start over now. Half cocked. Pop the cylinder in. Make it all pretty like. Wedge it in there. Do a little rotating. Okay? Which it doesn't like. Pop it in there. Do the rotating. Shove the pin in. There we go. Everybody's happy now. Okay. Now I have to get the hammer down. Very gently. Okay, right here. Because what we're gonna do, we're gonna pull it back just a little, hold on to it, and just flick it. Not, that was half cocked. Okay, gotta try that again. Gently down. Okay, so we're just gonna flick it. Maybe it might be easier if I just do it this way. Nothing. Let's try it again. It's really hard to get it to right before half cocked to get this to do it. Well, let's just try it even if we don't get it to half cocked. What if I just flick it, okay? To the... Nothing. Well, that's to half cocked. Okay, maybe if I like wedge it. See, there's this thing in between here. I'm gonna show you. It's not even going. Nothing. And even if I pull it, okay, this is what I want to show you. I'm gonna pop it over here, half cocked. Even if, I don't know if you can see this. Let me pull this other cylinder out. Okay, here's the thing. This is the one I dinged up. This, as you can tell, I've done this before. Well, not this exact experiment, but this is another little safety feature that in between it keeps the hammer from going back and hitting that percussion cap. See, there's this little thingies. So I don't think it's gonna do it. However, well, let's just try it again. We're half cocked again. Press it down. Okay. I just feel like I'm destroying this gun. I'm sure somebody's gonna point that out. Okay, I don't even know how many times we've done this already. So let's just try. Because ideally, the argument is that I had the loaded ball, okay? No, that's not true. What was I doing? So the idea was, what I was doing was I was loading the ball and I would rotate the whole cylinder like this. Ah, okay. So I was rotating the cylinder. Okay, so let's try this then. Well, no, let me get it right. I'm gonna show you. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get this right on the cylinder, okay? Well, let me see if I can show it to you. We'll rotate it to here. Okay, watch. Again, gun is only pointing, muzzle's only pointing out here. Okay, so look right here. Cannot show you, this thing's gonna go off, right? Okay, so look right here. I'm gonna pull this back. I'm gonna pull this back and I'm gonna put it right on a percussion cap, okay? And I'm gonna pull it back right before half cock. Still can't get it to go off, okay? Hold on, let's try it again. So we're gonna rotate it because that was the issue. Everybody had an issue with me rotating the gun and that was so unsafe, and then I would let it go on top of it, okay? So now it's directly on top of this percussion cap right now. Let's try and do a little pop. Nothing. No, it just flicks into the next part, that little thing that I was saying was the safety feature, okay? Let's do it again. Resting right on a percussion cap right now, okay? Nothing, hold on. Nothing. Now let's try something else. So right here, if I was loading all my percussion caps right on in here, which I guess it doesn't matter, I had them all loaded. Okay. So I can't even get it, even if it's resting on a percussion cap, I can't even get it if it's not on half cock, or even, it doesn't even matter. Oops, shit. There, resting on a percussion cap. I can't even get it before it even hits half cocked, which is what everybody had the issue with, was that I wasn't doing it. I was just rotating it while it wasn't on half cocked, okay? Rotating it again. Now if I flick it right here in the middle, let's try that. Okay. Let's hold that thought. I don't know if we just did that 12 times, but it does seem like we did it a lot. So, I haven't gotten it to go off once. I'm not saying that it's not going to, okay? I'm gonna be super taller than you. It's gonna be weird. Okay, so hello, Dad.
Hello.
Okay, so last night when I was explaining to you the experiment I wanted to try, which by the way, he did tell me he did think that was probably unsafe too, so it's okay. You were able to get the percussion caps to go off at least once, right? So I couldn't get him to do it at all. I just did it, I think 12 times, I'm not 100% sure. So I want you to show me, I want you to test it out. Let's see if you can get it to go off.
Well, what I did
Remember, there's nobody behind this area either.
was I just pulled the hammer back,
Which is what I was doing.
and I rotated it. What you were probably doing was slamming it on the side of the cylinder. I can tell.
No,
where
I
you were.
put it on a percussion cap.
Okay, so you're locked in right there.
Yep.
And then I just pulled it back until it felt like the chamber was starting to turn.
So this actually requires meticulous thought
Yeah.
process to even get it there in the first place, though.
Yeah, and then I actually just, as soon as it started to move, I just let go of it, and it's not doing it. It won't even go off like that.
Which is the point. When it's resting on a percussion cap, look at this. There's like Black Powder gun owners just cringing right now.
Oh, I'm sure. It will go off.
Don't worry, we'll use pliers to crank that back on there.
Did you cap any or shoot any of them afterwards? Round?
No, I have not tried that.
All right.
So let's try that. Let's just see. None of them have gone off. There's one, so we know that one's
Shouldn't have done it in
good.
front of your face like that.
Thanks, Dad.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
that.
So let's see if we can get this one to go off.
I don't have eyes and ears on, even though I told everybody I would.
I can actually maybe get it to go off like this. Oh, I can.
How'd you do it that way?
I just basically pulled it back farther.
But it was still at half cock.
No, it wasn't in half cock. That's the point. It wasn't in half cock. It wasn't even cocked. See, what I did was I pulled it around. until, which is something that I don't know why you would ever even think about doing that. I guess if you were pulling it back so that you could rotate it like that.
I was pulling it back to rotating it to put the ball in, and that was the issue.
That one did go off though.
Which one?
The one I just.
No, you put the trigger to get it to go.
No, I didn't on that one. I didn't.
Okay, so then we've got one. But again, we're back to it required meticulous, like actually just sitting it up the right way just to even getting it to do it, right?
I can't get it to go off now.
And then the point is also of what you brought up is how dangerous it is, but then what you just said is if the hammer is resting on a percussion cap, is it?
That one it is.
Yes, okay. And you proved a point. So let's just show you this. Hammer is resting on a percussion cap right here, okay? What we're gonna do is, I'm not gonna do it because I feel like I've destroyed this enough. You're gonna slam it how you were doing it.
Well, I got something to do this, so I don't tear up my workbench.
It's fine. There we go.
So we did this last night a couple times, and we never could get it to go off.
No.
Now, I guess if you dropped it from a long distance on the concrete, maybe you could. Or you dropped it off your horse and it hit a rock, maybe it would. But there is when this hammer goes back, after it's cocked, if it's like a 38 plus Smith & Wesson, the hammer actually will go back and hit, but then it won't. This one doesn't do it. It's resting on the cap, but it won't go off. It's just not got enough pressure.
So then my argument is even with all of this,
It's probably not the right way to treat your gun, but
probably not.
it's a tool.
Then to get right down to it, the likelihood of us getting it to go off while I was doing it that way is kind of
Pretty hard.
It's pretty hard. Okay.
Yeah. Not impossible, pretty hard.
If it'll make you all feel better, I won't be doing it that way again, just because, or maybe I will. I don't really know. So there you have it, my not so scientific experiment with the 1858 Black Powder Revolver and the percussion caps.